Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with today's trading action. All right, we're in the last day of the last week of the month, right? It's the slowest week of the month, and unless you're really concentrating, you can get sucked into a really couple of poor trading opportunities. But today we have some key numbers, right? And I don't want to over exaggerate the importance, but the PCE price index is a good inflation number that the Fed looks at. Now, the media sort of beats it up and says it's the preferred number for the Fed. That's not true, right? It is a key number, but just keep an eye on it. We've got personal income and personal spending out of the States as well. GDP numbers out of Canada. I don't know if it's GDP time just yet. And then you got the inflation numbers coming out of Germany, right? The prelim numbers. Now, just before I go into the charts and things, let's just have a look at those numbers because the prelim numbers out of Germany, right? They come through over the course of the day, right? It's not like one number comes out. So don't hold your breath. The German prelim numbers down here are probably the ones you want to watch. The GDP numbers, well, year on year, month on month, probably the month on month for Canada. But the PCE price index numbers, now you got the price index, then you got the core numbers there as well. I like the PCE price index numbers. 2.6 is the number, 2 to 2.7, right? This is pure inflation, okay, price index. So, and all the news that is going around is the market increasing their bets on a Fed cut, right? So, what they're looking for is weaker numbers. This sets us up for a trade potentially both sides of the market because if the market's already walked into a weaker number scenario, right? They're looking for something below, say, 2.6%, right? And if it's closer to two, then the proverbial is going to hit the fan and they will be cutting rates, but it's 85% factored in at the moment. The fact is, with the market factoring this in, right? And if you look at the core components of the market, the US Treasury yields, they are down a little bit, right? So the market is really, like realistically and factually factoring in lower interest rates in the US. This today's number, it's a key number, but the Fed have already highlighted next week's non-farm payrolls employment as their key thing now. So just be aware if the numbers come out weak, yep, they'll probably lock in a rate cut closer to 95%. But if these numbers come in stronger, then we might see the recent moves on the major currency pairs just turn around a little bit. Now, if you're sort of new to trading or you've been around a little bit, you look at the markets, and this is what we've been seeing a week, a little break to the downside, back in the range, right? Break to the downside, back in the range. This is what we've been getting sort of all week. And this is a market that lacks momentum and direction. It does happen quite often in the last week of the month, right? Where we do lack the numbers. And next week, the market's already anticipating non-farm payrolls, and the week after, US CPI numbers. We'll get all the answers we need. So just hang in there at the moment. The only thing you can really do is come to your charts and start tuning up the support and resistance lines that have been broken, right? Get rid of the ones that no longer make sense, and we'll just piece it together because today, right, I just don't want to sort of encourage traders to really rush into these numbers, right? Because the PCE price index, it's not as crazy as the just like the inflation numbers themselves, but we will see some activity, and that's primarily because traders have been starved, and I'm talking about the traders in the banks, right? Have been starved of trading opportunities, especially this last week. Okay, so they might be sort of running at the market looking for a bit of a quick fix to finish the week, right? Make sure you go through your technicals like I'm doing here, tune up your charts, know exactly where the key levels are, and then you can sort of make some trades around that, right? And you know what is indicative of a market that is a little bit quiet is the live signals, right? We've got direction, but we're not getting the signals lining up, and that's just the way of it, right? So you can't make these things move, right? And if you go down through the major analysis, you'll see there's a lot of uncertainty across the board. Today, after the PCE price index, we may have dollar certainty, right? That makes trading easier. Do you trade the numbers? Well, I would say a dominant or influencer trader, then definitely have a look at it, right? Because that's your profile, right? Attack the numbers, but make sure if you are doing that, look for the trend lines. They will give you comfort, safety, and liquidity, right? All right, guys. So last week of the month, chin up, don't get sort of discouraged that there hasn't been much this week because it all kicks off later today, the North American session, and then next week as well. Huge anticipation next week and the following week after that. All right, guys, have a good one. All the best. Cheerio.